The science behind why your patterns keep coming back even if you've tried everything. Have you ever felt like there's an invisible ceiling that you can't seem to break through no matter what you do? No matter how much work you've done on yourself, you've done the therapy, you've done the plant medicine, you've sat in ceremonies, you've done timeline, you've done all these things, and yet you still know that there's something deep holding you back. And I get it, for a while it helps. You have a breakthrough, you feel lighter, your anxiety lifts, and you're winning. You feel like you've had a breakthrough, but then 1 month creeps in. Maybe it's 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe it's 6 months down the line. That same reoccurring pattern pops its head, maybe in a different form, maybe in the same form, and you thought, oh, I thought I'd actually healed that. And I get it. It's like that same sabotage pattern shows up, just wearing a different outfit. Like you've done all the things, and yet it just keeps coming back. And you feel like something's missing, or like wrong. I call this the snapback cycle. It's like you think you've fixed it, everything's going great, and then it might be 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, you snap back and you're in the exact same position. And here's the truth that nobody's talking about in the healing and coaching industry. It's not that you're broken, it's not that you haven't done enough work, and it's not that you need to find another tool to just fix the thing. It's that a lot of these processes are working at the wrong level. What used to work in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, although they are profound and have had a profound effect, they aren't doing what they used to do. They're making the change at the wrong level. So it's not your fault. You're not actually reaching the depth of where the true transformation is happening. And in this video, I'm so excited. I'm going to show you why the old tools can't actually break your patterns. Even though these modalities, methodologies, they're great, they're not actually changing you at the level of transformation that they need to. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make long-lasting transformation at the atomic level. Hi, and I'm Millie Jones, and I help high-performing business owners and entrepreneurs through blending ancient wisdom with modern-day science to help break through and have a deeper impact in success, fulfillment, and wholeness. Now, I've been in the industry for over 8 years with 20,000 hours of research, testing, trialing, doing every methodology you could imagine. And I'm trained in more modalities, methods, trainings that I can even count. And I love to bridge everything from the Western philosophies like timeline therapy, NLP, all the mind science, psychology, with the Eastern philosophies and sciences. And I've sat in ceremonies, I've done the inner child healing, I've done the therapy, the timeline process, I've sat with shamans, I've done every amount of therapy you could imagine. And although it helped temporarily, I would always find these shifts that keep coming back into my life. And I spent well over 100K on my own healing journey, and I thought that, well, what am I going to do? This is not healing. So I felt a bit hopeless because I couldn't reach that expansion that I knew was possible for me. So it was like the anxiety would ease, but then it would creep back in. The clarity would come, and then the confusion would be back. The imposter syndrome that I thought was possibly gone, that it would not be there, would some way creep back into my life, and there I was doubting myself and my abilities again. And I believe that all of these, what you would call problems, have been a perfect part of my journey that led me to going to study with the ancient masters in Bali for 5 years. And what they taught me blew my mind. They taught me about the science of consciousness and how to actually change at an atomic level. And guys, I cannot wait to show you this video because it changed everything for me. Now, I remember the exact moment that I was doing all the inner work. I was meditating, I was doing hypnosis every day, I was journaling, I was meditating, I was doing everything I could to get into the next level. And I felt like I'd cracked the code. I was like, yes, I've had this massive breakthrough. And then sure enough, it would just creep back in. Whether it was 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, these same blockages would come back up. And I was like, what is going on here? I'm doing everything you could imagine. I'm doing everything you could imagine to only get this temporary relief. This doesn't feel right. This can't be right. This cannot be true. So I analyzed it a bit deeper and I found the same emotional patterns coming up. I was like, oh my God. And then again, the same relationship dynamic that would keep popping up into my reality. the same business block, that same cap of income, the same anxiety spiral, and that same imposter syndrome where I was constantly questioning and doubting myself when I'd done thousands of rewires on everything you could imagine, coming from every type of root cause you could imagine. I've removed everything, parts integration, I've done the timeline, I've done the NLP, I've done the breakthroughs, but yet that imposter syndrome that you're not good enough, who are you to do this? Like all of these deeper parts of myself where I question my abilities and I question my intuition and the things that would come to me. And it was like that invisible ceiling. It was like something was capping me from like fully stepping into my potential. It's like I had an invisible ceiling that I couldn't push through. And I started asking myself deeper, like, what am I missing? Why does this keep happening? And it wasn't until I met the ancient masters that explained everything. And everything I'd been doing up until that point was operating on the mental plane and the emotional plane. And that's not where the root trauma programming is actually stored. So the pattern, the trauma, the things that keep playing out in your life is not actually stored at that level. It is actually stored even deeper within that. So it's not at the mental plane, it's not at the emotional plane, it's at the cellular atomic level. This blew my mind. And what that really means is, as it's stored at the atomic level, it's stored in the cellular memory. And when I learned to shift at that energy, to shift at the frequency of light, everything changed. My consciousness expanded, my energy amplified, my patterns finally broke, and I finally broke through that invisible ceiling that was keeping me capped for years. And I know you know what I mean, because you're probably sitting there listening to this video having some version of this experience yourself. You're dealing with those same reoccurring patterns, whether it's in health, whether it's in wealth, whether it's in business, whether it's in relationships, whatever it is, you keep getting that snapback loop. It's like you think you've grown, you're doing the healing, and then snap back. Then you are in that snapback loop. And that snapback cycle is going to be unique to you. And maybe you've got a couple, but it generally shows up in one. I'll share mine just so you can picture yourself in this as well. It's like in health, it would be like my snapback loop was like, I'm doing amazing, my business is killing it, I'm doing epic, and then all of a sudden I would sabotage with a health issue. And it used to come up really bad for me, okay, to the point of like hospitalization, nervous system breakdown, stress, like getting out of control. And that was my snapback loop. And yours could be in business, it could be at a certain money income, maybe you attract a client, the wrong client, maybe clients leave just when you're right, or maybe it's in your relationships, you keep sabotaging with the person that you're with or attracting the wrong type of people. I don't know what your snapback loop cycle is that you've been doing all your work, your years of therapy, modalities, all this stuff on, but it's a real thing. And it's like that pattern that you thought was gone just reoccurs, comes back. Does this sound familiar to you? You've probably invested tens of thousands of dollars in your healing journey too. You've tried everything under the sun, from hypnosis to parts integration to plant medicine to NLP to timeline therapy to theta healing to sitting in ceremony to ayahuasca to doing everything possible, and it still comes back. And I want to be clear, these tools aren't bad, they're not wrong, they're amazing, they've helped millions of people, including myself, but they are working at the wrong level. So they're working at the wrong level. Although they work at the mental level, the emotional level, okay, and you get a relief from it, you can identify the pattern, you're able to process the emotion, they're all doing amazing, and they temporarily help. And like maybe even for a year they help. But they're not working at the deep atomic structure, the original structure of the cell. And this is actually where all of the change needs to happen. So at the atomic level, this is where the information is stored and encoded in the trauma, in the cell. And I'm going to break it down in a moment so you can really understand the depth that this goes. Because at a frequency level, in that cell is where the original information is. So right now you're doing all of these awesome things, but it's not actually going into the cell at the atomic level, at the actual root structure of where it needs to be shifted. So that's why that trauma pattern, that recurring memory, that the trauma is actually encoded and it's playing out all the time. So the stored trauma, the recorded memory, and the frequency pattern is still playing out. So let me break it down for you. So you could have your childhood wound playing out right now, and it's playing out in the middle of the cell. You can talk about your childhood wound in therapy for years, and while you can process that emotion, you can realize it, you can let some of that emotion go, maybe even a loose belief around it, that encoded memory wound and trauma is still playing out at a frequency level within the atomic cell. And this is why it always comes back, because we are made up of trillions of cells. Our body is made up of trillion cells, and that cell is holding the information and still vibrating out that old trauma wound. And that's why you keep getting the snapbacks. That's why you keep attracting the same thing, because you haven't gotten rid of it at an atomic cellular level. And that is why the pattern keeps playing out, because your trillions of cells are literally holding the information of that wound and that trauma. So until you shift it at a frequency atomic level, it doesn't matter what you do. That tape in the cell is replaying. Literally, you could imagine like a movie right now. It's replaying out that, and it's stuck in your cells. And that is the main dominant frequency that you are putting out on a cellular level. So you might believe that you just need to clear another block, find another tool, do another release. But here's the truth. It's not blocked in your mind or in your emotions. It's in your cells. So let me break it down really quickly for you. So the body is made up of trillions of cells, okay? So you are just vibrating cells right now. And each one of your cells holds information, which is light. So all of the mindset work, the NLP, all of the stuff that you're doing is just like dusting the outside of the cell. It's just like dusting it, you polish it, the pattern goes away for a bit, but it doesn't actually get the nucleus of the cell. So this is why you feel better temporary, you have a bit of a breakthrough, but then boom, the pattern comes back. All right, let me break it down, because inside the cell, inside of this atomic cell, what you're doing currently right now is like all of the NLP, the timeline, all that stuff is kind of just like dusting off that surface, okay? So it makes a bit of a difference. It's like dusting off, cleaning that surface. But what it doesn't do is get to the atomic cellular structure. And this is where you can imagine your trauma, your patterns, don't mind the spelling, patterns, your trauma, your patterns, your memories. They are playing out like a movie, like a live movie, an encoded live movie right now. And that is why you are sending out that signal, as you're made up of trillion cells. That is why that is what is going out into reality, into the people that you meet, into the snapback loops that you keep having. Because the things that you are doing do not access the atom at the cellular level, and we are made up of trillion cells. That's why a lot of these healings, mindset work, they're all amazing, but they're not actually changing the structure of the frequency of the pattern. And what we know through root cause, through all these different things that we've learned throughout the journey of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on ourselves, is that when we can go back and encode and reach that cellular and reprogram this frequency and get that trauma and pattern at the original level and bring that back to a wholeness space of light and remove that trauma, that is when the cell is filled with light and a whole new destiny can be created. So it has to be done at this atomic cellular level. So as I just demonstrated, this is not because there's something wrong with you, it's not because you're broken, it's just because you're working at the wrong level. So when I discovered this changed everything for me and my clients, because of the amazing shift I had, because what the ancient masters taught me for 5 years when I studied with them is how to actually shift the energy, how to restructure the trauma and clear it at an atomic cellular level, which changed everything. And then I do what Millie does best. I love to know the why. I love to know how the ancient masters did it, and I followed their process. But then Millie being Millie, I am a mad scientist. I love to test and trial, but I also love to understand the science behind it. And when I found the science behind it, it made so much sense, and how reality itself is actually created through the atom, through the atomic structure, that the whole world is made up of atoms. It is the building block of everything in the reality that you can see, every part of creation. So it started to buzz my mind with, oh my God, this makes so much sense. And what we know about the atom is the atom here is 99.9999% blank space. And that blank space is not just blank space, it's pure potential, it's pure light, it's pure consciousness, and it's 100% reprogrammable. And so when we go in and shift that cell at a subatomic level, we are literally shifting the reality, the structure of reality around us, because the atoms are programmable. So these higher consciousness tools taught by the ancients are not just working on the mental plane or the emotional plane. They are literally going into the atomic structure of each cell and reprogramming them back to their original frequency. So new light, new information can be stored, and that then raises the vibration and allows you to have a different experience without having those snapbacks coming back. So they restore the original cell of your energy. They allow your true essence and your soul's frequency to flow through. And this isn't new, this isn't some fluff, this isn't just a spiritual concept. This is ancient wisdom that has been around for 5,000 years, passed down from master to master. And these masters already understood that sound, vibration and frequency could reprogram the subatomic level and the atomic level of your cells. And they knew that reality is made of light, and that they knew that in order to change your life, you have to change at the frequency level, at the atomic level. So what I think is happening is now that science is actually catching up to what the masters and the ancients already knew. And I believe this is the missing link that the healing, personal development, therapy, high performance categories are actually missing. And so just to recap on what we know about the atomic structure and the cells, that everything needs to shift at the atomic level, because everything that you've been dealing with is kind of like 3D, 4D, mental and emotional planes of existence, and also working on just on the outer rim, releasing the pattern enough, dusting that surface around the atomic cell, but not actually penetrating within the cell. And therefore, the pattern, the snapback loop keeps happening, the traumas keep popping up, because the change happens at a cellular level. And what we know about atoms, the building blocks of reality, they are 99.999% empty space, but really they are pure light potential, and they are 100% programmable. So your consciousness can actually program these cells. And so we do all of this through our atomic release system that the ancients passed down to us, that has just been groundbreaking in terms of releasing that invisible ceiling, reprogramming your cellular structure so that snapback repeat pattern doesn't keep coming back, and you are healed at a cellular vibrational frequency level. And this, my friends, is the missing link, I'm sure of it. And so I want you to imagine for a minute, imagine your life free from these reoccurring patterns, these snapback loops. Imagine what your life would look like if you finally broke free from the patterns that have been holding you back. Imagine having no cap on your potential and you being able to reach your goals and dreams. Imagine stepping into your higher self, that next level version that you know that you could be, and having that unleashed. And imagine having no limits and having nothing holding you back. That's what happens when you shift at the atomic level. No temporary relief, not another breakthrough that fades, a life-lasting transformation. So where to now? If this hits home, we have created an amazing diagnostic tool for you called the Sabotage Diagnostic GTP that you can get just below, and that's going to help identify your biggest sabotage pattern now, what's going on, the core reason for it, and it's going to diagnose your sabotage pattern, which is absolutely epic. So just click the link below to get access to that one. And if you're ready to stop looping and experience this transformation at the deepest level, I want you to click the link below. Me and my team would love to talk to you and have a breakthrough call with you. Click the link below for that breakthrough call. Thank you for your time today. I hope this video has brought some light and awareness to you and your potential and everything that you could be. If this video has hit home with you and struck a chord within your heart, and you know too that this is the missing link, feel free to share this video with anyone that you think it could be of value to. Have a beautiful day.